What is going on, YouTube? Today's video is going to be about healthy eating, and it's a quick follow-up to the last video I made where I talked about sugar and how to get your sugar habit under control. Today we're going to be talking about healthy eating by adding healthier foods into your diet, as well as practicing things like mindful eating. So with that said, let's crack into it. So in the previous video that I made, I talked about how there are numerous benefits to eating more healthily. This can include things like more energy, reduced risks of various illnesses, and a greater sense of physical well-being. Some people find that it can also help to boost their mood as well. It might not be the only thing that you do to raise your mood, raise your well-being, improve your functioning, but it can be a really important part of it, right? We have to eat every day, multiple times. And today we're going to be talking about some of the ways to improve your diet by adding more healthy foods in. If your diet doesn't really include a huge amount of fruit and vegetables at the moment, I would recommend by starting to eat healthy foods that at least you know that you like, or at least like a little bit. Kale is often touted as a superfood, right? And while it may be very healthy in one sense, a lot of people find that they just don't really like the taste. But if you find that you like something like spinach, which has reasonably similar nutritional benefits, it might be a better idea to just start adding more spinach into your diet instead of something like kale if you're unlikely to stick with it because you don't actually like the taste that much. However, it is important to remember that over time, you can actually come to enjoy eating healthier foods more than you did previously. I used to really not like peas, for example, but now I don't mind them. They're not my favorite vegetable, they're not my favorite food in the world, but I can eat them once or twice a week, no problem. So it's important to remember that your palate can change. It may cost a little bit extra to get these kind of healthy foods on your plate and on the table. But if one of the benefits of eating more healthily is getting more energy, then it may well earn itself back because you might be able to take a slightly higher paying job, which might demand more energy from you, and you therefore get the money back that you spent on the food anyway. And in addition to this, you're also going to be healthier. So it seems like a really solid thing to do, in my opinion. Obviously, there's a whole literature on healthy eating, which you can check out. There's a lot of really complicated science, and I think sometimes people can get overwhelmed with the amount of information that's out there and just overthink it completely. But at its simplest level, healthy eating can involve reducing the foods which aren't as good for you and increasing the amount of food which is good for you, whilst also keeping it varied and balanced and so on. One quick tip for adding more vegetables such as spinach, carrots, broccoli, or whatever it is into your diet is to bring a packed lunch to work or to school every day. But in addition to having the main part of the meal, bring another lunchbox with these kind of salad type foods in it, and just do that every day that you go to work or school. Over time, you may find that once it becomes a habit, your mind and body just start to feel a little bit fresher, a little bit lighter, and there's a little bit more energy. This is something which I've been doing, bringing a lunchbox with the kind of salady foods into work every day, and I see no reason really that I would ever stop doing that. It seems like a really straightforward way to improve your diet without having to do anything too complicated. So the second point I want to make today is that food is not just about getting fuel into your body. Our minds and bodies often desire food that is actually pleasant to taste, right? Satisfying meals that provide us with an enjoyable experience. I used to treat food a little bit like fuel, just by making sure that I got the right nutrients, enough carbs, enough protein, and so on. But this isn't always enough. Recipes exist for a reason because those combinations of foods are particularly tasty and balanced and palatable. As an example of this, just imagine how tasty it would be to have pasta with sauce compared to eating the pasta on its own and then eating the sauce on its own, right? It's the same ingredients, but it's the way that you combine them that makes it more enjoyable and satisfying. So the third point I want to make today is about mindful eating. And this is where you apply mindfulness to the act of eating a meal or a snack. So rather than just sort of scoffing it down without chewing it quite as much, when you practice mindful eating, you eat the food a little more slowly and pay attention a bit more to the sensations in your mouth and in your body. In this way, you can begin to taste the textures and the subtleties to what you're eating a little bit more. And if you chew it more, then it's also going to be digested better as well. As always, I'm going to have more resources in the description about this sort of thing, so check those out if this sounds like something that would interest you further. So mindful eating is about slowing down, pacing yourself, eating the food, paying attention, and stopping when you are full rather than just sort of scoffing it down, not really enjoying it, and ending up with bloating or whatever it might be. I find the best times for me regarding my diet tend to be not only when I'm eating well, eating good food, but also when I'm chewing slowly, eating mindfully, stopping when full rather than gorging. I also find that my body tends to be happiest when I'm generally in a routine. So this can involve getting up at the same time, eating around the same sorts of time each day and evening with a variety of food, but generally getting it sort of aligned to a rhythm, right? There is, as I said, a wealth of literature available on healthy eating and diet. I would begin by making notes, looking for advice that is backed by evidence. So like the NHS website is a good place to start. Just starting to make these small changes by eating a little slower, adding a little more vegetables in, and reducing sugar intake, as I talked about in the previous video. And that is pretty much it for today's video. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you like the video, please give me a like. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I want to thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.